You've seen the claims. This penny is worth $1 million. This quarter can make you rich overnight. But is it true? The truth is, most of it is completely fake. Exaggerated prices, misleading hype. That's what we're here to expose. Welcome to Rare Coin Collecting. We reveal the real value, real history, and true rarity of coins that actually matter. From wheat pennies to rare state quarters. We cover it all with facts, not fiction. We explore coins in detailed series, one country at a time. And right now, we're focused on rare US coins. Subscribe now and discover the truth behind the coins. They say not all coins are created equal, but this Mississippi quarter? It's proof that even a coin that looks ordinary can hold extraordinary secrets. Now, most folks don't even look twice at a 2002 Mississippi state quarter from the Denver Mint. It's just one of 50 state quarters, right? Toss it in your change jar, forget about it. But serious collectors and sharp-eyed dealers, they know better. They know what to look for. And they know that just one tiny detail on this coin can turn pocket change into a payout. Let's back up. The Mississippi quarter was part of the U.S. Mint's legendary 50 state quarters program, released in 2002, honoring the Magnolia State with its signature blossom. Elegant, beautiful, but deceptive. Because under the surface of that floral design lies something that's been flying under the radar for over 2 decades. Here's the thing, it's in over 289 million of these Mississippi D quarters were minted in Denver. That's a massive number, and that's why people overlook them. But the hidden value isn't in the quantity. It's in the errors, die varieties, and high-grade survivors that slipped through the cracks. So what should you be looking for? Let's start with the strike. Many D-Mint quarters from this year were struck with worn dies, leaving the details weak. But a small batch? They were struck early in the die's life. That means sharp, crisp detail, from the fine petals of the magnolia to the E pluribus unum text. These are the coins that command attention at grading services like PCGS and NGC. Then there are the errors. And this is where things get exciting. Some Mississippi D quarters show signs of die clashes. That's when the obverse and reverse dies hit each other without a planche in between, leaving ghostly outlines of the design on each side. Imagine seeing a faint image of the magnolia, flower bleeding through the Washington. Portrait, eerie? Yes, valuable? Absolutely. Other known anomalies include off-center strikes, cuds, and even broad strikes without reading. But the real prize? The double dies, especially ones that show doubling on the text or flower edges. These are rare, but they exist, and collectors are hunting them down. Let's pause for a second and talk about grading. A Mississippi D quarter that's been circulated. Pocket wear, scratches, discoloration. It's not gonna fetch much, maybe 25 cents, maybe a little more. But a coin in mint state 65 or higher, with brilliant luster and perfect surfaces, that's where the magic begins. And now the part you've been waiting for. Because after grading, errors, and rarity combine, the prices skyrocket. Take this, a top-grade MS-68, Mississippi D with exceptional strike and eye appeal sold at auction. For a jaw-dropping $3,760, that's right. Nearly $4,000 for a state quarter most people ignore. And that's just for one type of rarity. Coins with strong double die errors or dramatic off-center strikes can fetch anywhere from $500 to over $1,500, depending on the severity and condition. Even more common minor errors, like die cracks or light clashes, can turn your quarter into a $50 to $150 coin if it's in a high grade and properly attributed. But here's the kicker. Many of these coins are still out there. They're sitting in old change jars, in forgotten collections, in circulation. People cashing in rolls at banks without realizing what they hold. And that's why collectors who study coins, who really know what to look for, are winning big. And we haven't even touched on the full-step designation or toning premiums, which can push values even higher for collectors chasing the perfect aesthetic. This Mississippi quarter is a perfect example of why rare coin collecting exists, to help you see what others miss. Because if you're relying on viral, clickbait videos to tell you which coins are worth a fortune, you're probably wasting your time. But if you're learning the real indicators of value, mint errors, die states, population reports, then you're building knowledge that actually pays off. So before you toss that 2002 Mississippi D quarterback in the pile, take a second look. It might not just be change, it might be a missed opportunity. And remember, we've already covered dozens of state quarters on this channel. 5 of the 12 in this current Series are life-changing coins, and this one might be among them. But to know for sure, you'll have to watch till the end. This is rare coin collecting, and we're just getting started. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about knowing what actually matters, then this channel is made for you. We're on a mission to spread real, authentic coin knowledge. No hype, no clickbait. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and check the next coin. It might be the one that changes everything. It's one of the most visually simple coins in the entire State Quarters series. No landmarks, no rivers, no buildings. Just two magnolia blossoms and a date. But behind that peaceful design is one of the most underestimated quarters ever struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Let's dig into the story behind the 2002 Mississippi P quarter and why one flawless example of this quiet little coin sold for over $140. Now, most people think they already know the deal with state quarters. They're common, they're modern, they're everywhere, and for the most part, that's true. The Philadelphia Mint struck nearly 290 million Mississippi quarters, and almost all of them hit circulation fast. That means pocket change. Vending machines, coin jars, and scratches, dings, wear and tear. But here's what most people miss. The value of a coin doesn't just depend on how old it is. It depends on how perfect it is. And for this specific coin, perfection is incredibly rare. Let me explain. Philadelphia Mint quarters from the early 2000s are notorious for weak strikes and poor quality control. Many coins left the mint with blurry details and faded luster, especially around the finer parts of the design like the flower petals. So when a Mississippi P quarter shows up in MS67 condition, with razor-sharp strikes, blazing luster, and no marks under magnification, collectors take notice. Because PCGS and NGC have graded very few of these coins at that level. And when something's rare in a high grade, the price doesn't just go up, it can jump dramatically. So what's the value? A verified MS67 Mississippi P quarter has reached on 44s at auction. That's for a modern coin most people would toss in a parking meter. And some registry collectors are offering even more for the cleanest examples. But we're not just talking about condition. There are whispers in the collector world. Rumors of subtle errors on certain Mississippi P quarters. Small die breaks, struck through debris, off-center strikes. And if you find one with a documented mint error plus high-grade condition, that's a whole different kind of collectible. So what should you be doing? Start checking your 2002 quarters, especially those with a P mint mark. Flip them under a good light. Look for smooth surfaces, strong details, and full original shine. Even a raw, uncirculated example could bring in a few bucks if it's clean. But the real payoff comes when you find one that's grading worthy. At Rare Coin Collecting, we don't hype coins with fake million-dollar claims. We break down the real stories, the real numbers, and the real path to building a valuable collection. So if you've been sleeping on the Mississippi P quarter, wake up. It's not just a flower on a coin. It might be a low-key gem waiting to be discovered. And if you're serious about coins as a buyer, seller, or long-term collector, this channel was built for you. You're watching Rare Coin Collecting. They told you these coins were worthless pocket change. They told you no modern state quarter could ever be rare. But what if I told you one of the most ordinary-looking quarters, minted in San Francisco and never meant for circulation, could quietly be worth far more than face value? This is the Mississippi S-clad quarter. And tonight, we're going to expose the real story behind this elusive collector piece. When you hold a Mississippi S-clad quarter, you're holding a coin that never belonged in everyday cash registers. It was struck for one purpose only: collectors. No, not in silver, not even in circulation. This coin was minted as part of the 2002 U.S. Mint proof set, and the difference between it and the common Philadelphia or Denver versions, it's all in the detail, the finish, and, most importantly, the market demand that's quietly driven its value higher and higher. Let's back up. The Mississippi State quarter was released in 2002 as the 20th coin in the 50 State Quarters program. The design is elegant, showing the magnolia blossoms, Mississippi's state flower. But the coin we're looking at didn't come from pocket change. It came from deep inside the collector world. The S-clad version was minted in ultra-sharp proof quality, with a mirrored background and frosted designs. And these weren't made in mass quantities like the circulating coins. These were produced at the San Francisco Mint in very limited runs. The exact number? Just over 3 million Mississippi S-clad quarters were minted for proof sets. Compare that to the 290 plus million from Philadelphia and nearly 290 million from Denver. And you start to realize how rare this version really is. But rarity is only one piece of the puzzle. What really makes this coin stand out is condition and what collectors are willing to pay. Proof coins are judged harshly. Any small imperfection, a fingerprint, a slight haze, and the value drops. But coins that have survived in perfect condition, graded PR70 deep, Cameo by PCGS or NGC, have become true collector trophies. Now here's where things get serious. While you can find a raw Mississippi S-clad quarter for a few bucks, a top-graded example in PR70 can sell for hundreds. In fact, one auction saw a perfect PR70 deep Cameo example go for over $400. And if that doesn't shock you, consider this. The silver version doesn't always outperform the clad one. Why? Because collectors of clad proof sets chase registry perfection, and when only a small number of these coins hit the highest grade, competition becomes fierce. So don't be fooled by the clad label. This isn't your average quarter. This is a low-mintage, non-circulating, high-grade proof collectible, and it's one of the 5 most overlooked quarters in the entire state quarter series. You won't hear hype about it in viral videos. You won't find it by accident in pocket change. But the serious collectors, they know. And if you're wondering where to find one, start with full proof sets. But be warned, most sets have handling marks, toning, or spotting over time. A perfect coin is a needle in a haystack. But if you find it or already own one, you might be sitting on a small treasure without even realizing it. Remember, we're not here to chase hype. We're here to uncover the truth behind real coin value. And the Mississippi S-clad quarter? It's one of the most quietly powerful pieces out there. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about knowing what actually matters, then this channel is made for you. We're Rare Coin Collecting, and we're on a mission to bring you authentic, hype-free numismatic knowledge. No clickbait, no shortcuts, just the real deal. Stay tuned, 'cause we're just getting started. They'll tell you all silver quarters are valuable. They'll tell you every silver proof is a hidden treasure. But what they won't tell you is that most collectors overlook one of the most unique and quietly rising coins in the entire state quarter series. This isn't the kind of coin you'll find in your pocket. And no, it's not the kind of silver coin that people melt down or throw in a junk silver bag. This one was created with one purpose only: precision, perfection, and collector prestige. This is the Mississippi S Silver Proof Quarter, and its story is far more valuable than most people realize. Back in 2002, the United States Mint released the 20th coin in its groundbreaking 50 state quarters program. The state was Mississippi, and the design, a beautiful tribute to the Magnolia State, featuring a pair of magnolia blossoms, delicate, detailed, and rich with symbolism. But there wasn't just one version of this coin. There were several. The Philadelphia and Denver mints struck hundreds of millions of regular clad quarters meant for circulation. But in San Francisco, a different version was born. One made not for vending machines or cash registers, but for collectors. One struck in 90% silver. That's right. The S Silver Mississippi Quarter is part of the 90% silver proof sets issued by the U.S. Mint for collectors only. These coins never entered general circulation. They were sold directly through the Mint's annual silver proof sets, carefully sealed, sharply struck, and designed with intense detail. And here's where the value really begins. While over 500 million Mississippi quarters were struck across Philly and Denver combined, only 892.20 of the silver proof version were ever minted. That makes it instantly more scarce. But scarcity alone doesn't create value. What makes this coin special is how collectors chase perfection and how few examples reach the top. Most of the silver-proof Mississippi quarters exist today with haze, light spotting, milk marks, or hairlines from decades of storage. That immediately knocks them out of top-tier value. But the few that survive in pristine condition, graded, PR69 or the elusive PR70 deep, Cameo, are worth watching. They say this coin is just another state quarter, common, worth only 25 cents. But what if I told you that this very coin, the Illinois State quarter from the Denver Mint, has shown up in rare collections and private auctions? for prices that no casual collector would ever believe. Let's dig into a story most people have never heard. A story that takes us deep into the rolling hills of Midwestern America, through the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and into the intense world of modern coin collecting. Because if you're holding this coin, especially in the right condition, or with the right error, you might be sitting on something worth far more than face value. The Illinois quarter was released in 2003 as the 21st coin in the 50 state quarters program. The design is stunning. A young Abraham Lincoln in the foreground, framed by a Chicago skyline and a farm scene in the background. It's got that balance of historical pride and state identity. But while millions of these were minted, not all coins are created equal. Now remember, we're not just talking about a circulated coin you got in change. We're talking about key factors that separate junk from treasure. That includes the mint mark, of course. This one's from Denver. So it has a D, but more importantly, strike quality, condition, and errors. Here's the truth no one on TikTok is telling you. Even rare coins aren't worth anything unless collectors are actively looking for them. And in this case, they are. The Denver Mint produced approximately 225.8 million of these Illinois quarters. That's a huge number. But like in any large production run, there were anomalies, errors, variations, and these are where the value lives. Let's talk about one of the most intriguing. Die breaks, sometimes called cuds. A die break can appear like a raised blob on the coin's surface, often on the rim or near the lettering. On some Illinois D quarters, these die breaks show up on Lincoln's shoulder or near the farm buildings. They're not supposed to be there, but collectors love them, especially if the break is dramatic and clean. Then there's the off-center strikes. If you've got an Illinois D quarter that's been struck off-center by 10%, 15%, or even more, without cutting off key design elements, you're looking at a coin that serious error collectors will pay real money for. But it gets better. Some rare examples have shown what's called a double die, specifically doubling on the word Illinois, or on the raise behind Lincoln. These are extremely hard to come by, and many collectors haven't even seen one in person. If you find one, it's like holding a ghost, an invisible treasure hiding in plain sight. But here's where things get interesting. There's been a rumor floating around for years that Illinois quarters can make you rich overnight, that people are selling them for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. That viral videos claiming a $20,000 Illinois state quarter are legit. Let's be clear, most of those are completely false. The vast majority of these quarters, even those in circulated condition, are still worth about 25 cents. Some in near-perfect condition might go for a few bucks on eBay, but the true value? It only reveals itself when all the right elements come together. An early strike, mint state condition, a verified error, and an eager collector or auction house that recognizes it. So now let's talk specifics, because some of you need to hear the real numbers. Once we get into mint state 67 or higher, certified by PCGS or NGC, prices start climbing. A typical Illinois D quarter in MS65 might only fetch 10 to 50, but an MS67? That jumps dramatically. Some have sold for 125 to 250 depending on demand. But the real jaw-dropper? A pristine MS68 Illinois D quarter has sold for a staggering 940s at auction. That's right. Nearly $1,000 for a coin people think is pocket change. And that's not hype. That's a real certified traceable sale. No clickbait. Add in an error, a full die break or off-center strike combined with a high grade, and you could be looking at even more. Some certified Illinois D quarters with dramatic errors have been listed in private sales and auction previews for over 4,500. Now before you go tearing through your change jar, there's one more thing you need to understand. These coins don't look rare at first glance. That's what makes them. So what should you do? First, check the mint mark. If it's a D, you're in the zone. Then, examine the coin under strong light and a magnifying glass. Look for clean rims, crisp detail, and any signs of errors. If the coin appears untouched, you might have something. If it looks perfect, no scratches, no wear, no discoloration, that's when you consider grading. Because without official certification, high-value coins don't get taken seriously. And if you're still not sure what you've got, that's where rare coin collecting comes in. Our goal is to give you real information, real values, and no false promises. We break down the hype and give you the tools to truly understand the coin market, especially if you're a collector, investor, buyer, or seller. So the next time you see an Illinois quarter, don't assume it's worthless. Remember what you learned here today. Look again, because that little coin could hold a lot more than you think. If you're serious about coin collecting, or even if you're just getting started, subscribe to Rare Coin Collecting for more real, trustworthy guides like this one. We're uncovering the truth behind America's rarest coins, one state at a time, and just wait till you see what's coming next. They say some coins are worth millions, and if you've been scrolling through shorts or random social media posts, you've probably seen the Illinois state quarter pop up as one of them. A shiny silver coin with Abraham Lincoln on the front, and claims that it could make you rich overnight. But here's the truth. Most people have absolutely no idea what actually makes the Illinois silver quarter rare, and how a few key factors could turn this ordinary-looking coin into something absolutely life-changing. This isn't just about silver. It's not just about an S mint mark. And it's definitely not about some random TikTok video hyping up fake prices. This coin has real history, real value, and most importantly, real traits that collectors are desperately looking for. In this video, we're breaking down everything, the lies, the facts, and the hidden details that separate a regular silver quarter from one that could sell for thousands. So if you've got an Illinois quarter, especially a silver-proof one, don't even think about skipping, because 5 of the coins we've talked about in this series are what we call life-changing coins. And this Illinois silver-proof quarter, it just might be one of them. Now let's start with where this coin fits in the larger picture. It was released in 2003 as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, Illinois being the 21st state honored. On the reverse, you'll see a young Abraham Lincoln walking forward, symbolic of Illinois as the land of Lincoln, along with images of a farm, the Chicago skyline, and 21 stars for its order of statehood. But not every quarter minted in 2003 is special. In fact, most of them aren't. Here's the first critical detail. There are 6 different versions of the 2003 Illinois quarter. You've got the P and D mint marks, which are the regular circulating coins from Philadelphia and Denver. Then you have the S-clad proof, a shiny collector version made for coin sets, but made of copper and nickel. But then come the real standouts, the S silver proof versions. These coins were struck in San Francisco using 90% silver, not the usual nickel-clad metal. That alone gives them a head start in terms of value. But silver content isn't what makes a coin rare to collectors. It's what happens during minting, grading, and how few survive in top condition that matters most. The Illinois silver proof had a total mintage of just, or 5. That's less than a tenth of the Denver or Philadelphia versions. But out of those 1.1 million silver proofs, how many do you think survived in perfect condition? And how many were handled improperly, cleaned, or simply lost? Collectors today aren't just looking for any silver version. They're after coins that are still in mirror-like, untouched proof state. We're talking about PF69 or PF70 deep cameo, the highest grades possible from professional grading services like PCGS and NGC. Now here's where it gets intense, because only a small percentage of these silver proofs ever grade that high. And of those, an even smaller number are still in demand due to cameo contrast, strike sharpness, and clean surfaces. Coins that reach PF70 DCAM are considered perfect, and perfection is rare. But wait, because there's another layer of rarity almost no one talks about. Some of these Illinois silver quarters exhibit striking anomalies, light doubling in lettering, frosted over devices that stand out more than usual, and extremely deep cameo contrast where Lincoln almost glows off the coin. These aren't official varieties, but elite collectors track and hunt for them, also because they were part of collector sets. Many were broken out of their original mint packaging, and once that happens, improper handling can destroy value instantly. One fingerprint, one cleaning cloth, or one slight scratch, and your high-grade potential is gone. That's why untouched sealed examples are so important. Now you might be wondering, alright, so where's the real money? Let's get into the exact numbers, because this is where things get exciting. If you've stuck with us this far, now you're about to hear what most people never do. A standard Illinois silver proof quarter, lightly handled or in average proof condition, might be worth around $15 to $25, mostly for silver value and collector interest. But when we move into PF69 DCAM, things start climbing. Values can reach $60 to $100, depending on demand and certification. And here's the real kicker. An Illinois S silver quarter graded, PF70 deep. Cameo by PCGS sold at auction for $1,200. Let that sink in. The exact same coin, same date, same mint, but in absolutely perfect, untouched condition. Fetched over $1,000. That's not hype. That's not speculation. That's a verified sale from one of the most trusted grading services in the world. And prices like that are becoming more common, as silver proofs get harder to find in top condition. So what should you look for? Start by checking the edge. It should be completely reeded with no signs of wear. Look for a deep contrast between Lincoln and the mirror-like fields. The strike should be sharp and there should be no scratches, fogging, or haze. If you're holding an S-minted coin from 2003 and it feels heavier than normal, that's a good sign it might be silver. If it came in a velvet US mint case, even better, and that's likely original proof set packaging. But whatever you do, don't clean it. Don't wipe it. Don't even breathe on it too hard. Send it to a professional grading service if you think you have something special. Because one wrong move and you might lose hundreds in value. Here's the bottom line. The Illinois S silver quarter isn't just a shiny collectible. It's a coin that represents the fine line between common and elite. Between junk silver and serious investment. And in the right condition. With the right grade. It's one of the life-changing 5 we've uncovered in this series. At Rare Coin Collecting, we're not here to hype up fake million-dollar prices or spread clickbait. We're here to tell you what actually matters in the real world of numismatics. And if you've got one of these quarters, or you're thinking of collecting them, now you know exactly what to look for. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about understanding what truly makes a coin valuable, this channel is made for you. Stick around, subscribe, and we'll help you navigate the world of coins one quarter at a time. And this is where misinformation creeps in. Viral videos have claimed this quarter is worth thousands. Others throw around numbers like $25,000 or more. But here's the truth. While a raw example might bring you melt value, maybe 5 to 10 graded silver, Mississippi quarters in top condition can command serious attention. We've seen PR69 deep cameo examples selling steadily. And while the PR70s are much more rare, they've been auctioned for several $100s. But here's the twist. Because demand for state quarter registry sets has grown, especially in silver, the competition for top-graded coins has quietly increased over the last few years. Now let's talk about the design. The magnolia blossom on this coin is striking in silver proof. That deep mirror background and frosted foreground give the flowers a real sense of depth, almost like they're blooming right out of the metal. And because silver reflects light differently than clad, the coin looks far more elegant and detailed. You can instantly tell it's something special. But how do you know if you have the right one? First, look for the S mint mark just above the E in quarter dollar. That tells you it came from the San Francisco Mint, then weigh it. A regular clad quarter weighs about 567 grams, but the silver version weighs closer to 6.25 grams, thanks to its 90% silver content. It also has a solid silver edge. No copper strip in the middle, like you'd find on a normal quarter. Still, that's not enough. To truly maximize its value, the coin must be graded. If you're holding a silver proof quarter that looks flawless, no spots, no scratches, clean fields, you might want to consider sending it to PCGS or NGC. A PR70 deep cameo designation could drastically increase its market price. But here's a word of warning. Not all silver-proof quarters are rare. This is where most people get confused. The US Mint made millions of silver proofs over the years. And unless they're in the highest grade possible, or part of a complete set, most of them don't fetch big numbers. That's why it's important to understand not just what the coin is, but how it fits into the wider collector market. With Mississippi, the silver version often flies under the radar. Collectors tend to chase the flashy designs like Texas or Hawaii. But here's the thing. Those coins often had higher mintages. Mississippi's silver version is part of a much smaller group, and that's what gives it long-term potential. Now think about this. Silver prices fluctuate. Coin demand rises and falls. But collector-grade coins and certified holders, especially state quarters in PR70, have stayed strong in value. Why? Because there are people building registry sets. They're not just looking for silver. They're looking for the best of each design. And if only a tiny number of Mississippi silver quarters earned a perfect grade, you'd better believe the bidding gets competitive. So what does this mean for you? If you own one of these coins in a sealed silver proof set, check it carefully. Look for signs of cloudiness, spotting, or damage. If it looks pristine, you might be holding a sleeper coin. And if you already have it graded and it's a PR70, you're in even better shape. Just don't fall for the hype. The Mississippi S silver quarter isn't a lottery ticket. It's not $1 million coin. But it is a legitimately scarce, underappreciated, and growing in demand collector piece that smart investors are quietly adding to their portfolios. And that's exactly the kind of coin we care about here on Rare Coin Collecting. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about knowing what actually matters, then this channel is made for you. We're on a mission to teach real numismatic knowledge without the hype, without the clickbait, and without the recycled nonsense. The Mississippi S silver quarter might look humble, but in the right condition, with the right grade, it's a stealth asset. And those are the coins that serious collectors never ignore. Stay tuned, because this is just one of 50 silver proofs in the state quarter series, and we've already covered 20. If you missed any, go check out our previous videos. You won't want to miss what's coming next. People keep saying this quarter will make you rich overnight. You've probably seen it, a shiny Illinois quarter with some seller online, claiming it's worth thousands. But here's the question nobody's answering. Why? What exactly makes this quarter so valuable? Is it even real? Or is this just another exaggerated coin story blowing up on the internet? Well, today we're going straight to the truth. We're going to look at the Illinois S-clad state quarter, and trust me, some of what you'll hear will completely change how you see state quarters forever. First off, let's be clear about what we're dealing with. This is the Illinois state quarter released in 2003. The design? It's a tribute to Abraham Lincoln. He's right. There in front of the Chicago skyline with a farm scene in the background, symbolizing the state's agricultural roots and industrial rise. But here's where it gets interesting. This specific quarter comes from the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S, and it's a clad proof, not silver. That alone changes the game. Most people think all S mint mark coins are silver, but that's not always true. The U.S. Mint actually made two versions of the proof. Illinois quarter, one in clad composition, copper nickel layered, and the other in 90% silver. And unless you really know how to tell the difference, you could mistake one for the other and lose hundreds of dollars in the process. So let's slow down and look at the details that matter. The Illinois S-clad quarter wasn't meant for circulation. It was part of special collector sets, minted in far lower numbers than coins from Philadelphia or Denver. While over 200 million Illinois quarters were struck at the main mints, only 334,245 clad proofs were made at San Francisco. That's a huge drop in quantity, and that's where scarcity begins. But here's the mistake people make. They think that just because something is rare, it must be valuable. That's not how coin collecting works. The real value of the Illinois S-clad quarter depends on several things. 1. Is it still in its original proof condition, with no scratches, toning, or signs of wear? 2. Has it been graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC? 3. Is it a deep cameo, where the frosted design sharply contrasts with the mirror-like background? Now this is where the truth starts to surprise people. Most Illinois S-clad quarters, even in nice shape, are only worth a few dollars. That's right. If it's been handled, lost its shine, or sat outside of its protective case for years, its value drops fast. These aren't circulation coins, so once they show damage, collectors don't want them. But, and this is a big but, if your Illinois S-clad quarter is in pristine, proof condition and graded PF70 deep cameo, now we're talking serious value. That's the top of the line. A perfect coin and extremely difficult to find. Less than a tiny fraction of these proofs ever grade that high. Now you've waited long enough. What's the real top dollar value? One perfect PF70 deep cameo, Illinois S-clad, quarter sold for $276 at auction. That's right, not thousands, not tens of thousands, but still a big jump from a quarter's face value. And that's not just once. Other high-grade examples have sold between 150 to 250, depending on market demand and the auction platform. That's the real number. And it's why so many collectors chase after these proof coins. They may not be life-changing individually, but in a full proof set or combined with other high-grade quarters, they can build real value over time. Doubt there's something else collectors are missing. A few Illinois S-clad quarters have surfaced with minting errors, double dies, strike-throughs. But here's the warning. A lot of fake hype is floating around online. People are selling regular S-clad quarters for $50, $100, or even more just by claiming they're rare or collector's items. Don't fall for it. Unless the coin is graded, or you've verified its proof quality and condition, it's probably worth $2 to $5, maybe less if it's been touched. And if you're trying to tell the difference between the clad and silver version, just weigh it. The clad quarter should be about 5.67 grams, while the silver one is 6.25 grams. That small difference matters, and it's often the only way to separate a $5 coin from one worth far more. So should you go looking for this coin? Absolutely, but with your eyes open. Don't be fooled by viral posts saying, "This Illinois quarter is worth $5,000. That's just not true for the S-clad version. What is true is that this coin has historical value, strong collector interest, and, in top condition, a real resale market. Combine it with the silver version, or with other perfect state coins, and you've got the building blocks of a serious collection. Here on Rare Coin Collecting, we dig deep into the facts, not the hype. We break down coins like these with real market history, expert knowledge, and a collector's eye. If you're a buyer, seller, or just a coin lover, this channel is built for you. We've already covered dozens of quarters like this, and we're just getting started. Stick around, because there are still 5 quarters in this series that absolutely blew us away, and you don't want to miss those.